So, you suggested the title for today's talk of Life Beyond Cliché, which I thought was very interesting and very fitting because, as I said, my experience of you is as a total original. But what inspired you to suggest that as the topic for today? What does that mean to you?
Well, originality is something that I hold in great esteem. I think creativity is generally thought of as taking something that was before and tweaking it and representing it. I think there is another possibility, and that other possibility is, what would you invent if it were you? Of course, nobody's going to invent from the beginning, but invention can happen. And so when I use the word cliché, I don't only mean cliché in terms of terminology, because we share the same language, more or less. I mean cliché in terms of attitude as well. Cliché in terms of presentation and creativity, that although something can look like it's happened before, let's try to present it like it's never happened, and it's actually happening as a creation of something that has passed through us and gone through a transition and come out the way it is, rather than copying something in the past.
Right, because most of us, most of the time, are more like living on automatic pilot and pressing play on programs that we've run through many times before. Yeah.
Well, some of them are very attractive programs, and some of them are beautiful programs, but originality, in a way, in my view, is more beautiful. Coarse originality is more beautiful than smooth, what you describe, imitation.
Right. And this kind of originality that you're talking about is related in what way to what we might call spiritual liberation or awakening or enlightenment?
Right. Well, if, as Hermann Hesse says, we're all unique creations on the part of the Creator, then what necessitates reconnection is that we be who we are. If we can't be who we are, then we're imitating someone else, and our chance for that reconnection is diminished. So the thread should go through who we are, discovering who we are, manifesting who we are, and that in some way will be original if we are indeed unique creations, unique experiments on the part of the Creator.
Mm-hmm. And isn't it, yeah, I mean, I'm a musician, and the music that feels most creative to me, that I enjoy the most, are the times when I feel like I am most out of the way. When it's sort of like being a conduit or something, that life is...
I've played music with you too, and the best experiences I have also when you were out of the way.
Right. And you can feel the difference between when I was in the way or out of the way. Yeah. Oh. Thank you for that, I guess.
Well, we got to get humor into here.
Of course, and I'm glad, and we've got to get ribbing in here. In fact, that reminds me of several topics. I have like way more that I want to cover today than we can possibly get to, but we'll just start where we are and see where it leads us. You're talking not only about a general life beyond cliché, but a practice, a spiritual practice or a path beyond cliché, because of course, like so many other arenas, spiritual practice becomes totally cliché ridden. And like I say, that's part of why I'm fascinated to explore with you, is because I see you approaching it and hear you talking about it in a way that seems unique and original. And one of the things that I see you talking about that's different is that a lot of spiritual practice ends up being like a self-improvement project, like I'm going to become a better person, or I'm going to be good now, or something like that. And as I hear you describing it, that sounds like movement in exactly the wrong direction, where what we're looking for is a process of subtraction rather than addition, not trying to become something, but rather to get out of the way.
Well, it depends very much on what a person is looking for. Certainly no one would, and I wouldn't, diminish the process of self-improvement if that's what a person wanted to do. If a person seeks certain areas of their life that they see as deficient and should change, then the person would certainly naturally address themselves to that aspect of life. I really have recognized that that this interconnection that we talk about is a natural phenomenon that exists beneath, and in beneath all the personality and all the manifestations of human beings. And if the possibility exists that we could reconnect to this energy that keeps it all going, the possibility exists that the way we lean the weight of our lives on these different qualities that we have, and the different capacities that we have, and the different possessions that we have, and the different skills that we've had, would come more into balance, because the weight of our lives can't really rest on those relationships, but they can rest from where they came. So basically what I sponsor and what I encourage is doing what's necessary to rediscover that interconnection. And as you say, that process very often requires subtraction. See what it would be like without, and not gross things like see what it would be like without money or without food or anything like that, but see what it would be like without a little bit less reputation, a little bit less self-image, a little bit less pride, a little less ego, a little bit less reactivity and anger, and see if that's going in the direction of a rediscovery. And so that's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And it seems that your style of teaching reflects that, in the sense that, like, Justin's written 4 books, all of which I have read and enjoyed, under the pen name Jaye, Jaye Gold, and in your books you tell stories and you share points of view, and they're not how-to books. And I've heard you say that actually that approach to spirituality, reading how-to books and stuff like that, which is perhaps, again, one of the cliches of spiritual practice, is like, here, read my book and I'll tell you how to wake up and such. But you say that that doesn't really work, that kind of how-to teaching is easily co-opted and not very useful.
Well, this is something I learned from my own experience, that because I had a mentor, a very important person in my life, and I could say that person really taught me no specifics other than help me learn how to explore. I do know how to learn, I do know how to explore, I do know how to ask questions. And I see that as the most valuable of the assets that I have picked up in actually from another person, which could also be conceivably from another book. So my valuation for input has come from more oblique input from stories and movies and songs, where I could actually extract what was meaningful to me rather than to have somebody tell me, this is what you should learn from that, this is what you're going to be learning now, this is what you're going to be doing now. Because, in my opinion, people have powerful capacity to extract what's important for them if they can relax into that extraction. And that's where very frequently narcotics or mind-altering substances have come in, because they have assisted a person in that relaxing process so that they could take in what was meant for them from a song, from a book, from from a talk such as this. So I quote this lyric from a song, "Take what you can and leave the rest," because there's always something that you don't need, but if there's something that you can get, as from this talk, as from the words I'm saying right now, that's what's of value, what you can extract. Now, fairy tales and songs really lend themselves to that, especially if the lyrics and the words are abstract, because they don't in themselves mean something. A fairy tale like The Last Unicorn or the Narnian Chronicles, you can't say that you're reading about a mouse, or you're reading about a magician, or you're reading about a unicorn or a bull. You're reading about something that, if it means something to you, you can extract it and you can learn from it, and it may even help you open the next door or arrive at the next door for you to walk through. So I'm definitely a proponent of what you might call the indirect method. It also is a fail-safe against imagining you're learning something that you're really not learning because you memorize.
So